How's it going? Welcome to Chats with Spencer. My guest today, I discovered at the last Awesome Games Done Quick with his speed run of Braid. He is Kanban. Braid is such a beautiful game, and seeing it done in such a quick manner was amazing. I had a lot of fun talking with Kanban and finding out our mutual love of StarCraft and StarCraft 2. So sit back, enjoy this fun interview with Kanban. Right, Kanban, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I should have shaved, but except for that, I'm fine.
We'll forgive you.
All right, good.
So, Kanban, can you maybe just give us a bit about your background? So, just maybe about where you grew up, what kind of kid you were, and just maybe like the things you were interested in when you were younger.
I grew up in Norway in a city called Kongsberg. I still live in Norway, but I do live in a different city. I'm actually one of I have to think for a second. Six children, so quite a big family. I'm a bit of a nerd, a bit of a geek. I think I was like that when I was a child as well.
It's okay.
I like to like memorize things and
Okay.
and just learn things. Yeah. Um, and later on I started studying math
Mm-hmm.
and actually a little bit of English, and I'm currently teaching math, science, and English in high school. But I'm actually about to change job for working for a company that is developing a math online portal that I'm going to be working on in terms of the content for it. So yeah.
So I have to ask, what brought you down the path of teaching? So Kanban, I don't know if some of viewers might know, but I'm actually was in teaching as well. I'm kind of on a break right now, but yeah, I've been teaching for 10 years. But like, what was the thing that kind of inspired you to go down that path?
I was 2 years in California on a mission. I'm a Mormon. I'm a member of
Okay.
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when you're on a mission, you do a lot of teaching. We teach, the lessons from our religion.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that kind of continually improving a lesson, continue like going over the same subject, like how much more effective can I teach this? I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home from California, I also kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to how exciting math is. I've always been decent at math, but I never thought it was too interesting, especially in high school. I thought it was kind of boring. Um, and I kind of put the two together, if that makes sense. And I actually did some substitute teaching right when I came home from my mission before I started my math studies. And
Okay.
because I was going to study chemistry actually, but then I needed to take more math from high school that I
Mm.
skipped. And then when I took that math like by myself, I'm Norwegian, so I'm trying to translate a couple of
Oh
words
no,
that
no,
don't
it's
work for
okay.
everyone. Yeah, because you can in Norway you can either take a subject as like in a public school, or you can take it by yourself if you need to take it later because you never finished it or you never took it, if that makes sense. And when I had to take the more difficult math just by myself and I actually understood it, I was like, wow, I think I can actually do this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a really cool moment in my life.
What are some of your interests outside of speedrunning and just video games? Like, what are maybe some things you're passionate about as well?
I have quite a bit of things I've tried and some
Okay.
things I still do. I like to play the board game Go or Baduk
Oh
a
yes.
little.
Okay.
Yeah, I started playing that in high school. It's been a while since I played it now. I play a little piano. I like to play. Well, I see you had some interviews there. I like to play Magic the Gathering,
Oh,
but
awesome.
it's been a while since I
Mhm.
played. I like drafting with friends, basically,
Okay.
kind of more than constructed, I think.
Mhm.
Like any strategy games, like if they're board games or computer games, and if I like them, I will try them out. A lot of M's.
It's okay.
Yeah. There's, uh, I think that about covers it. I also, well, this is back to video game again, but
That's okay.
I used to I used to work well, I kind of do from time to time, but not much anymore. I used to work on a mod for a game as well, so for
Okay.
StarCraft. So that took a lot of time, but it's not too much more anymore though.
I'm just gonna ask because I'm a StarCraft fan. What was the mod?
There you go. Okay, so if you're a StarCraft, I played StarCraft 1 since 1998, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I guess this kind of answers a little bit more about an earlier question about my childhood and
Mm,
who I am today, because
mm,
it was like we had one computer in our home with internet,
mm,
and that was the family computer. I had my own computer, but I didn't have internet. It was kind of sneaking in using that computer with internet as
mm,
much as
mm,
possible so I could play with other people and not just
mm,
versus bots. So I
mm.
never got like as good as I kind of wanted to be because I didn't get practice that much versus playing versus people. It was
Okay.
it was LAN parties and stuff. But yeah, I just kind of I just loved multitasking, hotkeying, planning strategy from StarCraft. And then in 2010, 12, StarCraft 2 came out. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly, something like
Uh,
that.
yeah, I feel like that's reasonable.
I have a look at this. I have a here you go. Here's my StarCraft certificate from Blizzard thing. It's like a thing they sent up to community members
Oh,
in StarCraft.
nice.
Yes, and with a little like 25-year coin kind of thing. So I have it.
Cool.
I-
Very
yeah,
nice.
but I thought it was gonna say that no, that was the StarCraft 1 anniversary. Anyway, StarCraft 2 came out. Oh, we'll put that up later.
Well, yeah, okay.
And 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 I think I was a little bit disappointed. I was hoping some more elements from StarCraft 1 would be preserved in StarCraft 2, if that makes sense. There was a lot of things that I didn't like about StarCraft 2 when it first came out. A lot of that has been fixed now
Okay,
with
fair
later
enough.
patches and expansions. But when it came out, but it stayed like that for a long time. And then there was a Swede who and StarCraft 2 has an incredibly strong game editor, like map editor
Yeah. Oh,
engine.
yes.
Yeah, you can make any. I've seen first-person shooters made in that. It's crazy. And he took time to learn that, and he started working on a modification of StarCraft 2
Okay.
to kind of be like a mix between StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1.
Okay.
And then that kind of got some following, got more people involved, and it kind of took more of a turn, more back towards the old. I'm just going to call it Brood War. It's a
Yeah, yeah,
good,
that's
good
fair.
word to use to distinguish the two. And at a certain point, he left, and I kind of took over with another group of developers. And what we basically ended up seeing as our goal was to have like an expansion to Brood War in the StarCraft 2 engine, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So
Okay.
you have like we tried to translate everything to Brood War first. Like what would Brood War be like in the StarCraft 2 engine without like ruining any unit interactions? It's basically impossible, but we were pretty close. And then we're like, what can we do with this? What units should we tweak? What more units should we add? What could we change to make Brood War more interesting and not make it StarCraft 2? If that makes sense. And that's called Starbow. I don't know if you ever heard of Starbow, but that was a project that was popular
Okay.
for a while. Total Biscuit featured it on his channel a couple of times, and Day 9 as well. So
Okay.
we got some attention via Tasteless Narcosis played it too. So if you know those names from StarCraft 2.
I watched a lot
Yeah,
of DSL
yeah,
in the early days.
yeah. So back in 2014, when Total Biscuit first put Starbow, Total Biscuit just kind of lurked our Team Liquid thread. I think because
Okay.
we had a huge Team Liquid thread going on for hundreds of pages with discussions about the mod, and he just suddenly showed up one day in that thread, and then the next day he on his YouTube channel he had two players from his pro team, from Axiom team, playing Starbow versus each other, and we were like,
Nice.
what is this, right? And everyone on Reddit is like, what is this? This is what StarCraft was supposed to be like. And suddenly we went from like being 20 people having fun playing this game to me getting like contacts from Twitch and Razer wanting to sponsor a tournament. I was like, what is going on?
Wow.
And that was like it was at that time that the original creator left, so he just put everything in my lap, and I just had to like organize everything. And people wanted to have a ladder, so we had to make a website, and it was crazy times. And sadly now barely no one plays it anymore, but that's how mods go.
Well, that was a really cool story, though.
Sorry, I had to pick up
Oh,
something.
no, it's okay. That was a really cool story, and I'm gonna try to limit the StarCraft so it's not becoming a StarCraft only interview. But I'm just gonna ask, what was your race in, I guess, StarCraft 1 and 2?
Zerg for StarCraft 1, and I think I started with Protoss in StarCraft 2, but I right now I think I was just play Zerg. I remember when I was young, and I realized that at some point I was like, oh, if I just make more stuff, I win. It doesn't matter what I make if it's just more stuff. So for like 2 years straight or something, when I was like 15 or 14 or something, I would just make Hydralisks. I just make like 10 hatcheries and
Yeah.
4 bases and just pump out
Just
heartless.
keep on making them.
None of my friends could kill me because they didn't know what macro was. But that's not gonna work anymore. But it worked back then with local LAN parties.
Did you follow competitive StarCraft when it was a thing?
Yeah, after a while, when we had more internet access, and
Okay.
I think I started following the pro scene more closely after I came home from California.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit before, but I remember like the era of Boxer and
Oh, jeez.
Nada and I love those people, and all the way
Nice.
up to J-Dong and Flash and what we got going today. I still watch competitive StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, Flash, my God, that get like, what? What's gonna stop this man?
Yeah, playing random apparently, but that barely stopped him. That's insane. That's like the craziest pro gamer ever.
Definitely. All right, we're gonna switch base from StarCraft. As much as I could talk about this for probably hours, but
Oh, me too.
just in general, in regards to music. So this question is: do you have a song, Kanban, that from your childhood that you just like vividly remember and it kind of like resonates with you? So maybe it's a song your parents played, a song you heard on the radio, just a song that kind of like you have that vivid memory of.
There would be several, but it was
Okay.
kind of interesting because when I was those 2 years on my mission, we were not allowed to listen to we couldn't listen to whatever music we wanted to.
Okay.
We were more restricted to
Okay.
like classical music.
Mhm.
So it was interesting to see what my brain started like missing, if that makes
Okay.
sense. Because if you haven't heard the music you like to hear for a long time, you're not going to remember all the songs. You're just going to remember a couple that the
Yes.
brain is missing more than others. And for some reason, there's a song called "Idiotic" by Radiohead.
Okay. Radiohead. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember which album it's from, but it's Kid A, or they have like 2 albums that are more like electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kid A and yeah.
it's
Okay.
Kid A and Amnesiac. I think the
Oh,
other
okay.
one's
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
it's from one of those 2, Idiotic,
Okay.
and that one just stuck with me like the whole 2 years I was in California, and I don't really know why. I listen to it from time to time now, but it's not like my favorite song or anything. But it was funny to see how much it stuck with me.
Interesting. And my always follow up to this is: do you remember the first album you ever bought, asked for, or downloaded?
It was probably downloaded. I don't know. I remember there is a Norwegian electronic band called Exploding Plastics, and
Mhm.
I would listen to them a lot, mostly because most of their music they just put up on their website. So I would just go there and listen to it a lot. And I don't remember exactly what the albums were called though, unfortunately. But I do like electronic music quite a lot.
If you could teach anyone to speedrun, so someone who's not in the speedrunning community, maybe it doesn't have to be your specific game, but just maybe like introduce someone to the genre and just like give them the basics about it, who would that be?
You like I could pick a person. Like who
Yeah, a
would I
person. It could
teach?
be a celebrity, it could be someone from history.
Oh, wow. To speedrun. Actually, I think any like really competitive sports person, someone who knows how much practice it takes to
Mhm.
be good at something, right? It would be interesting to see. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pick Flash.
Oh, he's got the APM for it, right?
He's got the APM. He's got the discipline and the practice.
Mm.
Flash could be the world's greatest speedrunner, I think, if he just had spent time on that. I'm glad he spent time on StarCraft because watching him is like watching magic. But yeah, I would teach Flash to speedrun for sure.
I love the answer. Good.
We're making a bridge here between the two
Exactly. Just tie every answer back to StarCraft. It's okay.
There we go.
This one might actually tie into StarCraft, but what's your video game story, Kanban? Like as a kid, do you remember your first console or your first PC? What was like the first few games you were playing and kind of like made you fall in love with video games?
I remember we had my dad is a mechanical engineer, so
Okay.
he needed fairly powerful computers for his work, even
Mhm.
back when I'm born in 1985, right? So so this is probably like 1993 or something, and computers are pretty weak still. But I remember we had a black and orange monitor. It wasn't black and white, it was black and orange. Don't know why. And I think the first game I actually remember is ZZT, which I don't think many viewers are gonna know what it is, but ZZT and Super ZZT, which I looked up recently, and apparently they were even bad for their time. But what you could do, you could customize, you could program in the game. So
Okay,
my
interesting.
older brother, he was kind of into that, and he tried to make like Super Mario in ZZT kind of. He never got far, but it was kind of cool to see. But just watching him play and trying to play myself. When I was younger, I would just watch others play a lot. We only had that computer, and we had to, like, the whole family basically. It was mostly dad, who needed to use it for work and stuff. But
Okay.
sometimes we could play on it.
Mhm.
Another game I vividly remember is Warlords 2. Well, Warlords 1 first, but mostly Warlords 2, and then that kind of transitioned over to Heroes 1, 2, and 3. When we got, those kind of turn-based strategy games.
Okay.
And then of course StarCraft.
Mm.
When it comes to, like, I did try and go to, like, I think the best thing in the whole world when I was a teenager was LAN parties. That was like, if I could go in a LAN party, that made my weekend. That was like the best thing I could ever do. I tried to get into as many LAN parties as I could, and begged mom and dad to go and bring me. And we would, of course, pull out of StarCraft, but we'd sometimes play Counter-Strike 1.6, the old one, and also Warcraft 3. So, yeah, very little consoles.
Okay.
My two older brothers had a Commodore 64, but I was so young back then. I would just watch them play a couple of times, and I just remember images. I don't even know what games they were playing.
I know the story, or I just read on Twitch your story about Braid. Essentially, a friend gave you the game, and you're like, yeah, this is a pretty cool game. And anybody who's not played that game, oh my god, just play that game. It's beautiful in, like, so many different aspects.
It is.
But just in the sense of your story is just, you saw the speed run, and you're like, hey, I could do this. Is there a bit more to the story, or is it kind of...
Yeah, a little bit,
Okay.
I guess. It's actually interesting because puzzle games haven't really been my thing when I was younger. That's a little bit more recent, not very recent, but maybe last 10 years or so. I think, I'm trying to think if Braid was my first real puzzle game. It might have been Portal 1, but it might have been Braid. Those two, though, are great puzzle games. But yeah, I think the friend who gave it to me actually enjoys puzzle games more than I did. Okay, and he kind of wanted to get me into puzzle games as well, which he kind of did. It kind of worked. But yeah, and then I remember discovering Awesome Games Done Quick not too long after, and like you said, I saw the run, and it was a good run. But I was also thinking, I could maybe do this, and I think I had a 35 or a 37-minute run, and that wasn't too long after I saw that run. And his run was like a 41, 42 minute or something. Oh, jeez. I did beat it fairly quickly. But it's, not to be mean, but it's not that difficult to get a 37-minute Braid. You just have to play the game fairly quick. You don't need to learn any tricks to get a 37-minute run in Braid. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how it started.
World record is sub 23 now, something along that line.
Yeah, barely.
Okay.
No, I could tell a bit more what happened then.
Please do.
Yeah, because I found Speed Demo's archives. Oh, see, this is when it comes to early Braid speedruns, who was like the best. This is a bit fuzzy. Like, just because I kind of don't know, and I kind of don't remember. There are a couple of names way back. There's Palfo. He had, like, at some point he had a 27:05 run, basically without any tricks except for the very basic stuff. Like, he would ladder jump, he would do the fast ending, like cheat the star ending for the last level. That's a pretty old trick, actually, and that's it. And he did a 27:05, and that's actually a really good run with when you don't have any more skips than that. And I remember seeing that run thinking I could never beat this, basically. But before that, we had, I think it was Palfo again with just another run that was on SDA. Because on Speed Demo's Archives wasn't like, oh, I just beat the Speed Demo's Archives run, now I'm going to upload it. No, it wasn't like that. You would just grind forever to get the run you were finally happy with, and then you would upload it to Speed Demo's Archives. And then you would maybe see it a month later if they were okay with it. It was not like speedrun.com at all. And before that, there was Gabrielle, a French speedrunner, did like a 29-minute something. That was probably one of the first like official records of Braid.
Okay.
But yeah, I started grinding down to get closer to Palfo, and then I think through Speedemo's archives forums, I got in touch with the ESA organizers, European
Okay.
Speedster Assembly, the European version. Mostly Svenne, who isn't with them anymore. There was a dispute a couple of years ago, but he was organizing at the time, and he really wanted Braid
Mm-hmm.
in there. And I don't know if I asked to come or if he invited me, but I ended up going in 2013, and that was amazing because I felt I was not a very good Braid runner at the
Mm-hmm.
time, and I actually really wasn't. But no one had seen an actual Braid run, if you know what I
Interesting.
mean. Like no one had seen a Braid run that actually do the tricks.
Oh,
The
okay.
the AGDQ one didn't do any tricks. It just played fast.
Okay.
It had some good optimal movement, but it didn't do any actual tricks.
Mm.
So I think my ESA run was like a 27:10.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare that with a 42-minute run from AGDQ,
Yeah.
they were blown away, and I was surprised that they were blown away because I
Mm-hmm.
thought people like, yeah, this isn't really that impressive in my head. And after that, like I got a ton of followers on Twitch after that, and everyone was like, I got a surprisingly positive feedback from that. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just put it that way. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can get better. Maybe I can learn all these tricks, right? Because there was a ton of tricks at the time that I didn't do because I thought they were too difficult, and I wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
good of a runner anyway. That's kind of what I was telling myself. Um, and also at the same time, 2013 is when the first task run came out,
Ooh. Okay.
and the French runner named PY, he saw the task run and he started theory crafting. What can we do in single segment? And he started trying stuff and discovered tons of tricks that we could do. And he lowered the record from that 27:05 from Palfo down to a 25:16
Ooh.
or something
Mm-hmm.
in just 1 year. And that was the same year I went to ESA. So that's why my
Mm-hmm.
27:10 didn't feel so good at ESA when he was down to 25 something, doing
Mm-hmm.
twice as many tricks as I was. But I've learned all of those tricks now, of course, and we found a ton more as well. So
What do you think the optimized run time would be? You hit every trick perfectly.
for the any percent category, that would be a 22:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's about 25 seconds more to save on German's run, on the
Okay.
current world record run. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, actually I'm gonna say German could get a 22:30 hitting everything because
Mm-hmm.
he does a couple of things I don't do.
Okay.
So I guess for me it would be like a 22:45, maybe 22:50 is like, if I ever got that, I would be super happy. Even if he beat me, I would just say that I'm done. That's the best I can do, basically. Yeah.
All right, Kanban, if you could visit any time period in history, what time period would it be and why?
I got to think about this one for a little bit. Well, seeing my religious affiliation, I think it would actually be interesting to go back to the 1800s, meeting,
Okay.
Joseph Smith, the founder
Mm-hmm.
of the religion, and just seeing what it was actually like, because there's a lot of different ways he's been portrayed
Okay.
back and forth, and just kind of seeing what kind of person was this actually. I think that would be very interesting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to switch up the pace a little bit, just do some less in-depth questions, but if you want to stop me and elaborate, feel free.
All right.
Do you have a favorite sports team?
Does esport count?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Because I've just been, Cyril from StarCraft 2.
Yes.
I guess he's on Team Ends, but he's the only one on Team Ends. But Cyril is like the only reason I'm following, because StarCraft 1 programming I've been following all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But StarCraft 2 programming hasn't been as interesting for me until Cyril started dominating.
Interesting.
And I was
Okay.
like, okay, when Cyril plays, I'm watching, basically. So yeah, definitely.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs, but, well, I'm allergic to cats, and my wife is allergic to dogs, so we can't have any. But if we could, I would have a dog.
Spring or autumn?
Autumn, I think. It's still a bit warmer. So cold there in Norway. I just need the warmest part.
M&M's or Skittles?
M&M's for sure.
One of your favorite movies?
Well, I did mention Memento, but that was
Mhm.
more, I guess that was more of an early movie. Thin Red Line is really
Okay.
good. Yeah.
If your next meal could be anything in the world, what would it be?
Ooh, probably a beef Wellington.
When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a movie director. I actually I for a long time was learning Adobe and all sorts
Mhm.
of things. Yeah.
If you go to the corner store, what's your go-to snack?
Any cheap, any meat that's on. I know this sounds weird, but a lot of times I'd rather eat dinner leftovers than snacks.
Okay.
So if they have any meat that's discounted that I can make something nice with, I'll buy that.
All right. Favorite childhood TV show?
That's why is this hard? This shouldn't be hard. Maybe Animaniacs. I
Okay.
remember watching that. That was fun.
Maybe some of your favorite video games that you haven't listed yet?
Say again.
Your favorite video games, but I'm assuming you're gonna like hit StarCraft on there. But maybe ones that you haven't listed yet, if possible.
Yeah, the Portal series
Okay.
are pretty good. Yeah, Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1, Half-Life as well, the Half-Life series as well. Not necessarily Half-Life 2, but all of them. Yeah.
Half-Life. Yeah. Okay. What video game do you think had the best storyline?
Oh, storyline in video games. That's a good question. I think I'm going to go with like the original StarCraft campaign. I was invested in that. I wanted to make a StarCraft movie when I grew up based on that.
Yeah. No. Blizzard games have solid storylines for sure.
Yeah. I think actually Warcraft 3 might be better, but I haven't I'm not as invested in it.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Best video game soundtrack.
Well, if I wasn't speedrunning Braid, I'd say Braid, but I'm so tired of that now. Oh, there's so many. I can't decide on one. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but like,
It's all good.
but like the soundtracks in StarCraft are great, both one
Oh
and two,
yes.
especially one. But like, there's so many like Zelda and like there's so many other soundtracks that are amazing for video games.
What's the best speed run you've ever seen in person and just in general?
I remember this is kind of weird, but I remember watching Beautiful Joe
Okay.
on Awesome Games Done Quick, and I never even touched the game before.
hmm
But they were just doing such a good job presenting the speedrun that I was blown away by it. And then I think Mate's 106% Super Meat Boy world record run. That's insanity. Yeah, I love Super Meat Boy speedrunning. Don't know why. I just love watching it.
It's definitely one of those like heart clenching moments when they like do the moves. Those platformers really get me for speedrunning. Like I think regardless of knowing the game, you can really appreciate the skill that goes into it.
Yeah, and for some reason I always gravitate towards platformers more than 3D games when it comes to
Mhm.
speedrunning.
Yeah. All right. So give me your top three players for, or like the top player of each race for StarCraft One and StarCraft Two.
Oh wow! All right. Well, Terran StarCraft 1 has to be Flash. Zerg though, like I used to be a big J-Donk fan, but he
hmm
doesn't play that much. It has to be J-Donk. Sorry. Protoss is Bisu. Sorry, this is easy in StarCraft
Oh
1.
no, yeah, StarCraft One, I think it's
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
unanimous.
In StarCraft 2, Zerg is Serral. That was an easy one.
Mhm.
But when it comes to the others, holy crap, that's gonna be hard because there's so many and they're so like switching places who's the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't have
yeah.
right now. Trap is probably the best Protoss player. Um, I don't think there's any other. Well, I guess no. In Control was playing Zerg, but yeah, no. And I guess Trap for Protoss. When it comes to Terran players, in actually, Ty,
Oh yeah.
great Terran player in StarCraft 2, and also the fact that he had such a cool playstyle back in StarCraft 1 as well, and he's kind of become a good player in StarCraft 2. I like that.
All right. So I think I kind of know the answer to this just based on your answers from before. But what really draws you to speedrunning? And I guess you could be more specific to Braid because there are so many other games out there. But you chose this one.
It's a good. It actually is a good question because I guess it's just like it's a sense of accomplishment. It's
hmm
the competitiveness. It's actually quite interesting because for a while, well, PY had the world record a long time, and I
Okay.
was kind of chasing it, and for a long time it was basically only me chasing it. PY kind of stopped running. Everyone else was either behind me or stopped running, and it took me like 3 years or something before I finally beat it. And it was rough because there was no other competition. It was just me, just trying to beat this
Yes.
record.
Mhm.
And then he beat me again, and then I beat him again, and then German came and beat us all. But that's actually the point. When German came and beat us all, I started speedrunning a lot again because it was competitive again. I had a challenger again, right? And that's some of the motivation right there. And just I think knowing that you can do better, you kind of have in speedrunning, you kind of have the perfect run in your head. You know what I mean? And you want that to be out there at some point in your life before you leave the game. That actually rarely happens, I think, but when it happens, it's glorious.
And just with regards to Braid, just this over another game, is there any, like, is it the time mechanics that kind of make it unique, do you think?
Oh, that's actually, there are a couple of things about Braid that
Okay.
I like specifically. The first thing, there's basically no RNG in the game. And yes, the time mechanics, because not because they're that interesting, but because most small mistakes can be fixed really quickly.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, if you die, you don't have to restart level. You just have to rewind. You lose 2 seconds basically instead of 15 or 30. So, but there are some things you can't fix because they're bound to the rewind mechanic. But yeah, no RNG, and the length of the speedrun as well. It's a nice 25, 26, depending on minutes. It's a good length, I think, for a speedrun. There are things I don't like about the speedrun too, but those are the things I like about it.
What's something you know now in regards to speedrunning that you wish you knew when you first started out?
I think I wish I was more creative back then, trying out more things, because I'm very much, and it's kind of funny, I'm seeing it in my son now a bit too, although he's only 5, but I'm very much about finding out what everyone knows and then doing that instead of trying to figure out things all on my own and finding new things. I like to catalog things instead of instead of creating things sometimes. So yeah, I was stuck on a lot of old strategies when there was so many new strategies right under my fingertips, but other people hadn't found it yet, and I could have found those easily, but I wasn't even looking for them. I was just looking to perfect what I knew instead of learning new things.
And this one is, what is your favorite video game memory you have? So it doesn't have to be speedrun related, just in your life. So like for me, something like watching the early days of the GSL, like that was really, I have very vivid memories and fond memories of that. So maybe something along that line.
Yeah, it's going to be slightly different, but I actually remember a single StarCraft game I had.
Oh, nice.
15 years ago or something, where I it's so weird because StarCraft 1 is so hard, but a game where I actually macroed well the whole game. My minerals never went over 1,000. It was a long game, and I really deserved to win, and then I won. You know what I mean? That happens so rarely. It's so hard. And I was feeling so good afterwards, this is my game, I think I remember watching the replay and thinking, oh, I wasn't actually playing that well, but at the moment it felt like I was playing my very best, and that was great.
What's one thing you'd like to achieve in your lifetime, and this is not limited to speedrunning?
This is a tricky one because I have a master's degree, and at some point I was I kind of wanted to get a PhD in math, but it's so hard, and I was kind of trying to read up a couple of subjects while I was working for a while. But now that I'm switching job to this other job, it's kind of a step away from that dream a little bit. Although this job I'm very excited about. But maybe at some point go back and take a PhD in math. I think I'd be super happy if I was able to do that.
And final question is, what are some words of wisdom you like to live by, or just a saying that you enjoy?
You either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of consequence. I like that one.
Kanban, can you let our viewers know just where to find you on Twitch, social media, and maybe some upcoming projects you have?
This is where things get complicated because of
Okay.
many handles. But yeah, no, on Twitch, you can find me on Kanban85. I usually speedrun Braid there, or I sometimes try and jump on top of people in danger zone with bump mines. That's a lot of fun these days. On YouTube, I upload my braid runs and sometimes not. Well, most of it's more danger zone again. That's my thing these days. But
Okay.
I upload like danger zone compilations, which I'm pretty proud of actually. And you can find that Starbo official on YouTube, which
Okay.
is not that much Starbo anymore. Sorry, but I was just gonna upload a couple of videos there, and then I realized I should have made a new YouTube channel, but it's kind of too late now. And I am on Twitter too, but I don't really use Twitter much. I think those are the main two places.
Okay. No.
If you, I want to say though, if you want to speedrun Braid, if you go to speedrun.com/Braid, there is a link to a Discord group that we use, and I would recommend you joining that to get directly in touch with us, and we have all sorts of resources there if you want to learn it.
Any marathons coming up?
No, not that I am aware of, not for me. But
Okay.
I actually, in addition to AGDQ that I had 2 ESAs, one in 2018 and one in 2020 actually that I was in. So I'm taking a little break, I think, from marathons now. Or I, not even taking it. I think if I were to submit anywhere, they would probably not accept because there's been a lot of braid lately in the biggest marathons. Yeah.
And just actually one follow-up question. Just how was it being on AGDQ? I mean, that's like the biggest speedrunning stage in the world, right? Like, was it surreal?
It was, and it was a crazy day. Can I share a story here?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had an internet provider, and they were starting to charge fees for ridiculous things, and I was like, I'm switching to another internet provider. This is getting stupid, right? And then I realized after like switching, after like signing up for another one, that AGDQ was coming up. I was like, crap. I hope they don't like decide to switch on the day I'm speedrunning, because
Yeah.
I need internet that day, right? So I sent the new internet provider a message about when do you think the switch will happen, because they started delaying it because there was some trouble getting new equipment and stuff, and they were like, oh, it's at least a couple of weeks from now. That was like the day before or something. Like, okay, I'm fine. I wake up Tuesday morning, and lo and behold, I have no internet.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, and I was like, well, it could be a lot of things, but I know exactly what this is, right? And I talked to my current internet provider, and yes, they had closed the line because they had talked to the other company, and there's of course been a misunderstanding because the other company was not ready to open that line. And I was like, I need that line open now. Like, well, we can try, but we can't promise anything. And they didn't. So they didn't open my line. I had no internet. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. My speedrun was like 11 o'clock at night for me.
Oh, jeez.
And what I ended up doing, because I had like so many. Oh yeah, and this was during like one of the worst Corona periods in Norway, where we weren't even allowed to visit anyone that wasn't family. So I was thinking about driving to my mom and dad, but they live quite far away. And then I realized that I could just go to work, at the school I work at. And I got one of from the administration there to turn off the alarm and stuff. So, or else that would have gone off. So in my speedrun, you see I have a bunch of laptops behind me, and people were talking about that. That's because I was in the IT room of my school. And the reason I was in the IT room is that was the only place that had actual IP cord connections.
Yes, that makes sense.
Because it's a better connection, and my desktop didn't have wireless. Because I wanted to bring my desktop. I wanted to bring my whole setup.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I had to clean out this horribly messy desk from the IT guy on our school is so messy. So I had to like reorganize the whole office. Oh, but I did get it on time, and it worked. But I was a bit stressed out by that. I've been stressed out that whole day, so the experience was pretty crazy. But luckily for me, I've been in marathons before, and what usually happens is that I get nervous like the first 2 minutes, and then I just get lost in the speed run. And that's basically the same that happened. I don't think I was even nervous much at all in the beginning. What I was kind of hoping for though was actually world record, because the 6-star category, the world record isn't that strong right now. But then I messed up like really hard on one of the levels in World 3, and I just knew, okay, it's not happening. And then that was kind of like a thing off my shoulder. It's like, okay, it's not happening. I can just do whatever now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I was kind of hoping that would happen.
Great story, and it's kind of hilarious. All these things only happen when you need it, right? It's like of all days of the internet to go out, it's that day.
I think it'd been like 2 years since I didn't have internet before that because of something happening right. I was like, yeah, had to happen that day.
Yeah, life is weird. All right, Kanban, thank you once again for joining me. It was so much fun talking to you, and it was great learning, you like StarCraft and Magic as well, that connection.
And likewise, this was very interesting talking to you, Spencer.
Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please check out Kanban's Twitch and YouTube. I'll be sure to link them in the description below, and also link his AGDQ run. You can check out him at work. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next video.